Thank you so much, Hillary. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. So let me go ahead and do that. There you go. Can you guys all see my screen now? Awesome. All right. Well, my name is Harrison Schaen. I am the lead instructor here at Learn. I've got about 20 years of development experience. In addition to being the lead instructor here, I'm also on the San Diego Black Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors. I am a business owner and a startup founder. I've owned and operated a 100% remote digital agency for 5 years as well. And some of my hobbies include technology, which of course makes sense. I also love art, all kinds of forms of art, and entertainment. So just a little bit about me. So I will go ahead and jump into a little bit about Learn. So from a 10,000 foot view, our vision really is to make the Learn remote learning as amazing as the in-class experience. Our goal really for the past month or so now has been to transition to a remote experience as seamlessly as possible. Some of the challenges that we have, I feel like, overcome is being able to utilize the available technology and keeping students engaged. And some of the ways we're doing that, some of the tools we're using are really just communication, over communicating things, making sure that everything has a schedule and we're communicating that schedule to the students and the staff as well. Utilizing Zoom for all of our meetings and classroom experience, Slack as well for being able to do text communications and sharing files and things like that. Also using GitHub for project management, be able to store files, be able to use that for our classroom challenges, which we'll go over in a little while. And most importantly, having fun. And so I'd like to go ahead and show you how we do that. So I'd like to talk about our daily schedule, which is a little flexible, but always we're punctual starting in the morning at 9 o'clock, 9 a.m., where we have check-in, followed by lectures and then challenges. Then we'll have a break around noon for lunch and come back around 1 p.m. for additional lectures, additional challenges, competitions. Sometimes we have other people, other experts in the industry come in and talk to the students as well. And then we always have checkout around 4:50. And then followed by a couple days a week office hours as well, which we'll talk about moving forward. So go ahead and keep it moving. So I'd like to talk about stand-up, which we have at 9 a.m. Typically, you can see in the text here, we break the morning ice with a fun, open-ended questions the students can learn about and connect with each other. So we'll ask everything. I think this morning was like, what is the weirdest food you've ever eaten? We'll talk about what movie can you watch over and over again? Things like, what did you do last weekend? All kinds of different things. And just in order to be able to personalize the experience, really get to know each other and connect and form not just a classroom, but really a family, which, you can see by the current cohort, they really have come together and they do share, happy hours together. And, when we're all meeting in person, they go out and hang out and things like that. So I think stand-up is really important. Once we're done with stand-up, we move into the lecture portion. So we'll start recording as soon as we begin lecture, and that's video and audio. And in lectures, one of our instructors will lead the class in a presentation covering material that students will need for each daily challenge. These lectures include everything from HTML, CSS, JavaScript. We teach Ruby, Ruby on Rails, and a lot of other different technologies as well. And the students will be able to ask questions during these lectures and be able to kind of pause and make sure that everyone's on the same page before moving forward into the next topic. Our syllabus, which is continuously evolving, this is essentially each one of the lectures that we give. The students have access to the syllabus as well, and you'll be able to follow along as each one of the instructors are able to lead them through the curriculum and material. And that includes coding, that includes coding examples, that includes theories, that includes fundamentals as well. Really breaking down not only how to do things, but why we do the things we do as well. The goals of our challenges are to put in practice the concepts and skills we build upon daily. So this way students are able to be broken up into groups and they can work together in pair programming to be able to go and execute the challenges And usually at the end of each day, or even at the end of each week, depending on the challenge, we'll have a presentation where each group can present their final project. Once we're done with the lecture and announcing the challenges, we'll stop recording, and then we'll post those recordings immediately so students can access them moving forward and look back on what we covered. So I mentioned that we have this thing called paired programming. So for each challenge, we put students into groups of drivers and navigators. So one student would essentially be the one coding or typing, or essentially taking control of the project or of the computer, and the other student would be the navigator. So they'd be looking out for any kinds of error in code. They'd be reading through the syllabus, making sure that we're meeting all the requirements. They'd be the ones looking up and doing any kind of additional research. So that way we have teams. And when one student is done driving, the other student will become the driver, and they would switch, and the other student become the navigator. That way everyone gets ability to get their hands dirty, right? So a question that just got asked: how do you assign a pair? Is it totally random? A lot of times it is totally random. We'll have a generator that will essentially be picks. We'll put all the students into a bucket, and the generator will pull two names out of a hat, and we will assign those groups. And again, another question: how often are the pairs changed? Pairs are changed typically every challenge. We want to make sure that each student gets to work with every other student, so that way they get to know how they work and how they can work together. Because later in the curriculum we have larger groups, especially when we get into what we call our capstone projects, and they'll be able to know how they can work the best together. So that happens, again, pretty much every challenge. So it could be every morning, every afternoon, every day, or even every week. Another question: for capstone projects, do you get to choose a partner? Typically not. We will actually choose the groups for them. We will take into consideration any kinds of requests. However, the instructors will base the groups based on the assessments and how students do throughout the course, and put them into groups accordingly. So I hope that answers everyone's questions about paired programming. For the topic of capstones, no, we do not assign it. The students will get to pick the project they want to work on, and then they get to pitch it to us, and then we will either accept it, reject it, give them feedback, criticism, whatnot. So yeah, that's about capstone projects. But more about paired programming. Through Zoom and GitHub, students will work together to complete each standard, stretch, and epic challenge presented in the syllabus for each day. So we'll have a basic challenge, and then we'll have a stretch challenge, which takes the curriculum a little bit further and forces students to do a little bit of outside research. And then the epic challenge typically, will give students a goal that they have to get to, and it's up to the students to figure out the code that they need to create in order to complete that challenge. By using GitHub, I'm not sure if a lot of you are familiar or not. I'm sure if we were in person, and I can ask you a little bit more mindfully, but through GitHub, students can essentially upload their code, and another student can download the code relatively quickly, so that way they can switch off partners really quickly, be able to do the navigating and driving. So that's paired programming. Here's a challenge example. So right here, you'll see a bunch of stories. These are called user stories, which are actual real-world requests from clients used by our students to build an application from scratch. So you'll see a couple of these different user stories here. And this was actually an actual client request, which was Cat Tinder. So Cat Tinder, as many of you may be familiar with Human Tinder, it's basically a matching application that was requested by a client. And so we thought that was really fun and funny. So we decided to integrate that into our syllabus to give students a chance to create their own kind of matching application. And I'll show you one of our client meetings now. So hopefully you can hear my audio. I'll turn it up a little bit so you can hear it. Oh. There you go. So this is actually a student who is taking us through their application. So this is their cat Tinder, right? Is your cat lonely? They were able to build this front end example and also a back end as well, so they can be able to save cats that they create, and other cats can come on and find cats. So I'll skip ahead a little bit so you can see an example of the cat, right? This is Whirlpool, and it's just for knocking stuff off the countertop, and has an age and a picture that the students are able to upload through the application on their own. So you can see here the student integrated a cool slider. That way they can slide through each one of the different cats to see them. I thought it was really neat. And this really clean interface that was fun. So the students are actually demonstrating this for other students in the class. You can see in the top right corner, different students interacting with the presenter. And you can see here, I'll skip ahead. The students will go through all the code as well, be able to showcase what they did and how they did it, so their students can learn from them as they are, presenting. And oops, well, I jumped ahead. But that was essentially a client meeting. I won't spend too much of time on that, but you can see some other examples of what students did here. So you have, programmer's preference, which was a way for programmers to meet each other and get matched. You have OK Catnip, so just like OK Cupid, I think was really cute. And then again, we have the lonely cat Tinder matching application. We have a question. So 3 types of challenges. Are the stretch and epic challenges meant to be completed within 1 day or several days? Typically, these challenges are created to and intended to be created or finished the same day. So we won't give students too big of a challenge, but it will force them to do some outside research and thinking outside of the box. So I hope that that answers your question, Yin. So when we do go ahead and break out into or rather when we start our challenges, we break students out into breakout rooms. So we'll create groups for students along with the breakout rooms where students can go work together without distraction. So in these breakout rooms, it's just usually 2 students, unless we have bigger groups, which is usually up to 4 or 5 at max. And they'll be able to work together, be able to share their screens, and be able to work on the specific project that they were assigned to work on without having to work, in a bigger room where everyone else is working together. So it provides a way for students to prevent distractions, focus on what they're doing, and get the work done as they need to. So while they're in their breakout rooms, they can post questions to Slack. So if students have questions that could be answered quickly, they will ask them in Slack. Otherwise, if they need more one-on-one time with the instructor, we'll be able to dive in together where they can work through blockers and find solutions on Zoom. So they can come back to the main room where the instructors are, and we'll make time for each student that has questions and work through their problems, share their screens, be able to take over someone's screen as well. Question from Lisa, can instructors still see or monitor the people in the breakout rooms? Typically what we'll do is we will go into the breakout rooms, each breakout room, ask a question, if students have any questions, if they're running into any kind of issues. And if they do, we'll stick around and hang out and help them as we can. Otherwise, we'll invite them to come back to the main room where all the instructors are hanging out and they can ask their questions there. But while students are in their breakout rooms, instructors are in the main room, we cannot see the people in the breakout rooms. So I hope that answers your question, Lisa. Another thing which I think is really cool is we have competitions. So in addition to coding challenges, we'll actually have these multiple choice competitions where we challenge students to reinforce what they've learned over the previous weeks, or just to have a fun way of learning about each other. So what I'd like to do right now for the next maybe 5 minutes is actually play one of these games, if that's okay with you guys. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get this started. And what I'd like you guys to do is go to kahoot.it and then type in this game pin, 850-0270. So I'll go ahead and wait for you guys to join. Right now we have 0 players, so hopefully some of you can join us. Oh, Andy's in. Who else can we get to join? Chantel, awesome, hello. We'll give it another couple minutes. Cool, 6 players, all right. Awesome, awesome. Oh, we're up to 10. Anyone else going to join us? All right. let's go ahead and get started. All right, welcome. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start the game. So all you guys are going to do is you're going to look at my screen for the question, and then on your side, you're going to go ahead and click the box that corresponds with the right answer. Cool? All right, let's get started. What's your learning style? Go ahead and pick which one corresponds best to your learning style. Awesome. Looks like a majority of you learn by listening to lecture or video. Oh, actually, learn more by doing than by listening or lecture videos. Oh, a lot of hands-on experiencers here. Awesome, very cool. Well, we definitely encourage students to do as much hands-on work as possible. That's hence the challenges, hence all the projects that we're working on, coding exercises that we give out. So you will definitely get your hands very dirty doing a lot of coding throughout the class. Next question. Have you ever taken an online course? Yes or no? Oh, majority of you said yes. Awesome. So then you'll be a perfect fit for our program as we are currently online. Those of you who said no, no problem. We make it super easy for you to get involved and be able to get set up and going. We help you with all your technology. We help you, get acquainted with technology and be able to, really use and maximize the tools that we have to make the online course as fun and engaging as possible. Next question. What's your biggest apprehension about online learning? Cool. So 50% of you said that less space time with instructors and less personalized instruction is the biggest apprehension. Well, as you can see, my face is right here. And try and make it as personalized as possible. We definitely encourage students to ask questions and to speak up. And we definitely, showcase all the students in their own way as well. So we try to make it as personalized as possible. We also make sure that students do have the right technology. I know that the next class, Bravo class, which starts next week, they all will be receiving laptops to learn, loaded up with all the different tools and software that they'll need to be successful. And as you can see, we try making this program as engaging as possible through games like this, right? So we try to make sure that we are asking questions, trying to make sure that students have the opportunity to speak up when they want to, or if they have to, or if they if they don't feel comfortable, we try to make it as comfortable as possible. For other 25%, that said other, I'd love for you to either, speak up now, or you can type something in the group chat about maybe what your apprehensions are. I'll give you a minute or two to go ahead and, either speak up, or you can go ahead and type and I can read up your questions if you'd like. One of the questions are, how are the remote internships going for students? I know that a lot of students have had a lot of success in their remote internships. Majority of them are working on cool projects and being able to even learn new technology and new languages that we don't cover in Learn. One of the really cool things about Learn is we not only teach you how to code, but we teach you how to learn how to code. So, every company has their own different stacks and different languages and different applications and legacy code, all kinds of ways of doing it. And we try to make sure that the students that come out of Learn understand how to quickly learn how different languages are set up so that they can be successful right off the bat. So I know that a lot of students are having a lot of success. A lot of students have received offers from the internships that they've interned at. So I think, from a high level, to answer your question, how the remote internship's going, awesome, right? Another question, what is the best way to utilize the learning working with pairs? So, everyone's got different perspectives. So, different approaches. There's no one way to answer a particular question or to achieve a particular goal in your application. So working in pairs allows you to explore different ways of accomplishing that. Not only that, sometimes you go code blind, right? If you start coding for, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour even, you'll miss things like periods and spaces and, accidental misspellings. So having someone looking over your shoulder really helps in that regard. Also, when you switch up and you're not coding, you're navigating, allows you to do research and figure out, solutions to problems that you're having as a group, while, not having to take away from time actually building the rest of the application out. Typically, we say, hey, if you run into an issue, let the navigator go ahead and find the solution to that issue, and you can move on to the next goal of the challenge. So there's a lot of ways that you can utilize the learning while working with pairs. Another question, are there more specific stats in the cohorts finished earlier this year and their employment status? There is, and I'll go ahead and let Brian speak to that, who is in charge of our career services. TJ might also have some of this information that we can share with you guys at a later time, but there are definitely more specific stats that we can share with you.
I think to speak up to that, we'll reach out to Lisa. We'll reach out to you with some more numbers after the presentation.
Yeah, thanks, TJ. Another question from Yim. In future cohorts, will you try and find internship partners who have always been 100% remote, even before COVID? Or will you continue with your usual partners who have moved to remote due to COVID? It's not a confusing question. A lot of companies either are remote or aren't, right? Or they go back and forth. Really, we don't discriminate as long as students are able to get the right mentorship, have the right, we just look for the right fit. Companies that are, creating applications that are able to utilize the talent that we're providing, and also be able to help mentor them in a way that they can grow and potentially get a full-time position at either that internship or somewhere else. So, we don't necessarily look for specifically a company that is remote, but we do accept, any type of company that's either remote or in person. If they go from remote to in person or from in person to remote midway, we help students, navigate that transition. And Learn staff is really great about supporting students their entire way through internship and even after your internship and graduation as well. Have you found a loss in internship partners because of recent events? Well, to be honest with you, Ian, sometimes internship partners, especially through the recent events, have decided to not accept interns at the time because either they're laying people off, which is unfortunate, or they don't have the kind of setup to support an internship partner. So there have been situations where internship partners have decided not to go with us for that particular cohort. However, the career services team is amazing, and we have so many amazing partners that they've been able to replace those internship partners really quickly. So we haven't had an issue of placing students as far as this cohort has gone. Does that answer your question? Well, I hope so. Great, awesome. So let's go ahead and go to the next question. We've only got one or two more of these. So what are you most excited about with online learning? Oh, I know what my answer is. PJs all day. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously. Oh, a lot of you feel the same way. No commute and PJs all day. All right. Another is kind of split down the middle between learning to work in a remote setting, which will be valuable in your job search. And some of you also said you're usually shy, where communication is easier for you when you're behind your screen. And these are all, awesome answers, right? We have some others as well. I think, people who are learning to work in a remote setting, that is incredibly valuable, especially, if you're looking to do any kind of, remote work for companies, or if you're looking to freelance, or if you're looking to just, work from wherever you are in the world, which I think is a really valuable, benefit for being a developer. Really, you can, as long as you have an internet and a computer, or even a phone or laptop, or a tablet now, you can code from anywhere. So I think being able to work in a remote setting, it must be able to help you navigate that. It's definitely something that Learn is doing. And the fact that some people are shy, there's a lot of introverts or extroverted introverts out there, which makes remote learning and being in a remote environment a lot easier. So we definitely, facilitate that, and work with people of any type of communication style. For anyone else who said other, if you'd like to go ahead and put what else makes you excited about working with online learning in the chat, that'd be great. If you have questions, also I'll go back and circle back there as well. But I'd love to know what you guys think about and what makes you excited specifically about online learning. For now, I'll go ahead and jump to the next question. How did you guys hear about Learn Academy? I'm really interested in this one. From a friend or family? Was it online through the Learn website, the community or event meetup? Or was it something else? Cool, friends and families. Awesome. Yeah, people who usually know about Learn are amazing advocates of Learn. They understand how involved we are in the community. They understand, what we are doing. We're not just a boot camp, right? We're really a workforce development program. Not only do we teach people about how to learn and about coding, but we actually give them internships, get them real world experience. We support them through the entire process, even after they graduate and beyond. We have a huge community of alumni that are all advocates of the program as well, which I think is really great. Question from Chantel. If by the end of the Bravo cohort, things are fine to reopen in person, will the option be made available to students to attend from the classroom or have in-person internships? Absolutely. If and when we reopen, we will be going back to the in-classroom experience. That, of course, will be communicated ahead of time. We're not just going to switch it up on you and expect you to be in class the next day. But there will be conversation about that when the time comes. So hopefully that's sooner than later. Awesome. So I think you guys did great. That concludes our Kahoots for the day. So that's just one example of how we present challenges to the class. So again, give you guys a nice applause for going through that. I'm going to go ahead and switch back to the presentation now. Can you all see the presentation again? Yeah, cool. Okay, so that's our Kahoots. So thanks for playing again. So let's talk a little bit about our daily schedule. So after we announce the challenges and the students are working in pairs, around 11:50, we typically have our instructor meetings. So instructors and staff are going to meet in one of two Zoom channels to discuss goals, projects, and tasks of the day. So we have our classroom channel where the instructor meetings are held, and we have our staff channel where our staff meetings are held. To talk a little bit about that. So instructor meetings, typically when we meet, which is either once or twice a day typically, it's around being able to enhance the curriculum, right? Every day in technology, new tools come out, new languages are updated, new code comes out that we can use, and new things that employers are looking for interns to be able to come in and do once they join the program. So we're enhancing the curriculum on a daily basis to ensure the students are industry ready when they graduate. So this is a picture of Sarah, myself, and Rachel hanging out and talking about how we can make the class better. We usually have a really fun time doing it as well. The instructors are amazing. They're so helpful and supportive. If you haven't met Sarah or Rachel yet, you must. Whatever you can do to meet them, I would encourage it highly. And then we have our staff meetings, right? And we have fun daily, getting the departments together to discuss department goals, projects, and tasks that were completed and ones that are being completed. So we'll talk about any kinds of blockers that we have, any kinds of resources or things that we might need from each other to get unblock those blockers, if you will, and find solutions to any kinds of issues that you're going to be having. But it's really great because we bring our babies, we bring our dogs, we have all kinds of different animals and fun things that we introduce. So it's not too stale, and we make sure that we are always pushing the program forward in a positive direction. After our meetings and after lunch, we break for lunch between 12 and 1. We allow students to come back and complete challenges that they haven't completed already if we have some additional time. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and start recording again, have another lecture along with questions. We'll stop those recordings, post those to the cloud, announce challenges, and then students will have a chance to spend the rest of the day going through and completing those challenges. Question from Lisa: how often would you say you've changed the languages or stacks that you teach? I would say that we change it, almost every cohort, or every other cohort. We introduce something new or some new way. Because when you get into React or Ruby or Rails, for instance, those languages get updated every couple months, if not weeks. And so we want to make sure that we are, letting the students know what's new, making sure that the next cohort has those tools in their tool belt, and then when they go into their internships, they're not left behind. They are ahead of the curve. So we make sure that we stay on top of that as often as possible. And sometimes even mid-cohort, we'll switch things up and introduce new content, or correct ourselves from old content that we've taught, just to make sure that students know that, hey, this was how it was before, and this is how it is now. So, what you thought you knew, here's some stuff that you should know moving forward. So we have no problem switching up the curriculum, just to make sure that students are getting the most relevant, up-to-date information as possible. So yeah. So this is a little video about how our checkout goes. Let's see if I can turn my audio up so you can hear kind of an example of how our checkout goes at 4:50. Oh, I can click on it. There we go.
Start us off. Worked on a bunch of different little things today. Did a bit of media query, more about backend development.
Got some good research done, a couple components working out pretty okay. Feeling good, checking out.
I just worked on a lot of backend stuff in terms of prospect testing, some hiccups, but went pretty well, checking out. Architectural shifts that follow along with our wireframe, that was really good.
Did good, Rudy. We did great pair programming today, crushed it. Learned a lot about React, Bootstrap.
Super productive day. Our app is definitely, it's in a finalized mode. My friends are starting to study coding now. I'm TAing them at the same time. They're asking all these questions, texting me and solving their problems too. So that's pretty cool.
Definitely went through and killed our testing today on the back end, and then on the front end got Enzyme to rework. So that was fun and it's all accomplished.
The client meetings we did today were really awesome. I'm so proud of you guys. And I also listened to the awesome podcast that these guys did this morning. I'm feeling great. Checking out.
Cool. So that's a little example of how our checkouts go. Sarah, thanks for answering that question. Lisa, sorry I wasn't more specific about the larger stack. Absolutely. Our stack has been, React, Ruby, Rails, and with Postgres, that's typically the stack that we've taught for the past couple of years. But as Sarah mentioned, we do change things like versions pretty regularly. Awesome. So a question from Yim: what do you recommend students do to prepare for remote learning, including hardware like headphones or setup? We have an entire document that we send out that includes all of those things, but definitely having a laptop, having a strong internet connection, being able to have headphones definitely helps. If you get a microphone, that also helps. There are some headphones that we recommend, so we can give that. Absolutely, you can use 2 monitors. I've got probably 3 or 4 monitors here, but yes, and you would need 2 different accounts if you wanted to use 2 Zooms, but we do have different channels that you can move in and out of that we will give you links to. So when you click on a link, it will just sign you out of one channel and sign you into the other. But we'd absolutely give you a crash course on how to use all this technology as soon as we get started, usually from day one. And so, that includes, again, being able to log into Slack and how to use Slack, and what all of our Slack channels are, how to log into Zoom, how to use Zoom, how to use reactions, how to go into breakout rooms. We teach you all of those things, from the get-go. Question: if students still have some of this equipment, like the extra monitor, could they borrow one from Learn for the duration of the course? Absolutely. Students have been able to borrow keyboards, mice, monitors even. We have a program where they, give us the name, and we able to assign which monitor they've taken, and the way they can use it. We make sure we track where that equipment is. I hope that answers your question, Lisa. So after we are done with our checkout for the day, typically we'll post the next day's schedule. So in Slack, we post Zoom links and the schedule for the next day. So you can see a small example of what today's schedule was. And you can see the Zoom link there. You can see the different times for things, check-in or check talks, the capstone work. You get to work on your capstone after lunch as well. And then finally our checkout time. Some classroom resources that we provide. So Google Fu. So we teach students how to find answers on their own, how to get really good at Googling. A lot of times, people just don't know how to ask the right question to Google to find the right answer. Or once they find results to their answers, how to find or navigate the different links that are given and which links are better than others. We also provide office hours. So from right now, currently on Wednesdays and Fridays from 5 to 6, students can come in and ask questions. It's all done through Zoom. We'll have a Zoom channel that students can join where myself and the other instructors will hang out for an hour and be able to answer any questions or lingering questions students have. We also do technical interview training. So we help students know what to expect in technical interviews. So we'll help them learn how to create rapport, be able to ask questions, be able to solve technical questions as well. We also do one-on-ones, so each student will be able to sign up for a time with one of the instructors where we'll have about 30 minutes to spend time connecting, offering any kind of guidance that they might need, whether it's personal guidance or career guidance or technical guidance as well. We also have an awesome Slack channel called Everybody, where our entire alumni and staff hang out to be able to answer any questions. So anytime someone gets stuck in their internship or post-internship, or even while they're in class, they get to go to the Everybody channel, post their questions, and typically, 20 to maybe 50 people will provide answers. So it's a great resource as well. We also have a new program that connects students with professionals, our mentorship program. And, the Learn staff, we want to make sure that they have access to us, throughout the class, throughout their internship, and even after they graduate. We're here to support them and make sure that they are set and stay on a career, on a path for success. So we also encourage students to create and build their portfolios and continue to improve it over the duration of the class as they learn new technologies. This way they are not only having their business card really, but they're able to add their projects to their portfolio. So every challenge that we do, every group project that we do, they'll add it to their GitHub and they'll be able to post links to their portfolios. I've got a couple of examples here of portfolios that students have created in this current cohort. So this one is from Heya, and Heya's got an awesome portfolio. You can see she has a little navigation menu up here. She also has cool little typing. She has her skills, all of her skills listed here. She has her projects she's worked on. So this was like, okay, catnip project. They have a Pikachu. She's also working on a Python bot that's a work on progress. You can go to Heya's portfolio and check that work out. It's heyaquan.com. You can see she also has an about page here where you can learn more about Heya. So there's Heya there. Right, and she does some really cool stuff that she does as well. And you can read all about Heya here. You can go back to the home page. And then you have her resume, email, LinkedIn, and GitHub as well as her blog, which I think is really cool too. I know it's also a work in progress, but she is definitely keeping it updated. So yeah, so that's Hea's portfolio. Again, if you want to check that out, that's heaquan.com. And then we also have a portfolio from Rudy. Oops, let's see what I did. Here's Rudy's portfolio. There you go, and you can see Rudy's page. There's Rudy there. And this is actually taken by one of our photographers for Learn. All of our students also get headshots. That's part of our career development program. You can see he's got an awesome cool navigation menu he built out on his own. And you scroll down, you can see, you know, all of his work that he's done. Meet Rudy as well. It's got a cool slider here, languages. All right, you can see who his trust partners as well, frameworks. You can see some of his work he's done. Like for instance, here's a Pig Latin translator we did in class. I think is really cool. So you can see, you know, he lists out the features, the user stories. Here's an image of his Happy Pig Latin translator, right? It's a cool GIF. So you can see it working in progress where he types something in and then he's able to oink me, right? And it changes to this cool little, instead of Pig Latin, it's you know, actual ham or pig related. I don't know. It's pretty neat. So here's more details here as well, and you can see, you know, more about Rudy's portfolio if you go to rudybecker.dev. There's a link right there if you want to check out more of his work. It's at rudybecker.dev. So yes, that's our portfolios. And then we also have weekly assessments. So each week, students are given a half day to complete in-class quizzes that measure their comprehension of the content from the previous week. So this is an example here of one of the assessments that a student submitted. So you can see there's a lot of code there, and it might not make sense to some of you, but once you go through our program, by week 6, I believe, this will all make perfect sense to you guys. So then this person had no previous coding experience at all as well. So, you know, there's definitely a lot of opportunity here. So I mentioned, we also do competitions. So you saw the multiple choice competition we did earlier where students compete against each other from their computer or mobile device while guessing what is the correct one of 4 answers. We also have Olympic games where we put students into teams and they compete in 3 events, such as the multiple choice event. They do some whiteboarding and they have to create an MVP. And we, as instructors, are the judges, and we give points to each team, and the team with the most points takes home the trophy. So you can see it here. This is the winning team from the Alpha Olympics. We'll be having our Bravo-thon coming up, and then I think we call the Charlie. I don't think we have a name for the Charlie yet, but they're all same format in Olympic Games. So it's our competitions. And that's all for my presentation. If you want more information about our classroom or enrollment, you can always go to learnacademy.org. And I know TJ, myself, Hillary, Sarah, Rachel, and the whole team, Kate too, can answer any questions that you guys might have. So with that said, we got 10 more minutes left, about 12 more minutes left for questions. So we'll go ahead and open that up now.
Cool. Thank you, Harrison. And like you were saying, let's open up for questions. You're welcome to unmute yourself if you want to ask something, or go ahead and use the chat bot. I have a question here that thought we could get started with.
Is there any homework that needs to be worked on outside of class? The answer to that one is no. All of the work that we do is in class. So we do encourage students to spend some time outside of class continuing to code, but it is not required.
But there are, sorry to interrupt.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
Thanks. But aren't there like kind of weekend assignments, things that people have to work on, like to submit? I just know, like, my husband's doing the course and he's been doing stuff over the weekend. So I'm not sure, is that different?
Sarah, you want to jump in on that?
Sure. So we try to give as much time as possible in class. There aren't assignments where we say, okay, now go home and do this assignment and come back with it finished. We give you class time to complete the assessments. But of course, when you're learning something brand new, there is going to be outside work to be done. The goal for the outside work, though, is that it's more studying, redoing challenges, brushing up your skills, trying to take a deeper dive and refine what we did in class. So there's no like set assessment or assignment that is 100% committed to you doing that on your own time, but we absolutely recommend that you study on your own time, but what that looks like can be individualized.
Absolutely. April, did you have a question as well?
Yeah, so because COVID, I have kids that are home and learning. Their schedule kind of conflicts sometimes with what my schedule would be if I did learn for the cohort Bravo. Is this something you guys are doing? Is this something that probably be?
I'm sorry, you cut out at the end there. Can you repeat the question? The last couple like 5 or 10 seconds there.
Sure. So kids are in 2nd grade and they're learning as I'm learning as well. So I know you guys are paired. So is this going to be issue my pair or would to the recording to some of the challenges?
So what I think I hear you asking is are you able to kind of work on your own schedule? Are you able to and correct me if I'm wrong, because again, you're breaking up just a little bit. But if I'm hearing you correctly, it's kind of like being able to manage your time with your kids being home and being able to work in the pair programming and things like that. Is that kind of what you're asking? Maybe you can submit your question to the chat room. But while you do that, I'm going to answer Yin's question about where we can access the recorded lecture. Typically in our recordings are all added to the syllabus. Also, we have a YouTube channel too that we add all of our recorded lectures to as well, so you can go and check that out there. More about the mentorship program. Rachel, are you with us here?
Yep, I'm here.
Speaking about that?
Yeah, so the mentorship program is kind of like my baby. I always thought it'd be really cool if we could connect students to either Learn alumni or leaders in the community who are affiliated with Learn in some way. So this cohort, we initiated the mentorship program by reaching out to alumni and various groups that we come in contact with a lot, like Girls in Tech and San Diego JavaScript, just various sources to find some leaders in the community who are interested in giving back to newer developers and who want to kind of volunteer their time to mentor people. I had a lot of great feedback from potential mentors who were really interested in doing that, because I think a lot of times when you move on through your career, you become more of a senior developer. Your scope of like what software engineering is becomes very small, kind of it's just focused on like what your job is. And I think that people were really excited about the opportunity to flex that mentorship muscle again and kind of view what it's like from more of a beginner's standpoint. So I have a great group of mentors already who have been working with our students. I was able to pair them up based off of the needs of what the students are looking for and what the mentors are willing to offer as far as how much time they're willing to give and the bandwidth that they're kind of working with. So we have some really great matches. I think it's going really well, and we'd really like to expand it more as we kind of continue. But yeah, that's the mentorship program so far. So as of now, I think all of my students who have mentors have met with their mentors at least twice, usually through like Zoom or they're over Slack kind of communicating with each other. But it's just basically a way for somebody who's just entering the workforce to have somebody outside of the immediate classroom to kind of lean on, whether it's technical mentorship or career mentorship. It really just depends, and that's where the matching kind of comes in. But it's been really successful. It was really fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Rachel. Another question from April. Chelsea, you might be able to help answer this one. Yes, my kids have some times where they will be doing schoolwork and I'll need to help them. This will be conflicting times with the Learn course. I know we will be with a pair, but I don't want that pair to lose out on any paired learning. Chelsea, I know you've got a little one there you're hanging on to. Maybe you can speak to how maybe April can help manage her time.
Sure. Oh, I just woke him up as I spoke. Darn it.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. I think that just to kind of circle back, my little one is very different because I can still wear him, and I think the second graders are not in that same space. I do think that there is, and I think that actually maybe Sarah or Rachel could probably help out with this one, but like, I think what she's asking is how in the classroom can she still participate in the pair programming and things like that if she's having to step away from the computer to help the kiddos, and if that's something that we can work with or not. I think that sums it up a little bit. I don't think I can answer it well because I can still carry my child.
Absolutely. I mean, Sarah, do you have any thoughts about some tools that April can use when she's in class?
Yeah, I think, well, I mean, we do, we're still participating in a 9-to-5 program, and we're still around, throughout that time with the 1 hour of lunch in the middle, but we all should be taking breaks from coding. So I think just communicating with your pair is the most important thing. We're all kind of in this situation together, and I think just making sure that you're letting everyone know what's going on and managing that, communication is, I think, the big one.
Absolutely. Rachel, did you have any thoughts about that as well?
No, I think that Sarah's pretty spot on with it. I mean, with a remote setting, being ultra communicative is even more important. So we even have a staff channel where if we're stepping away for like 10 minutes, we'll be like, going to be back in 10 minutes, where in an in-person sort of setting, it might not be as necessary. So just having an extra level of communication with your pair during the process is going to be great. And it will also facilitate breaks for your partner. But it's kind of up to you on what you think is kind of manageable for you. But I think it is absolutely doable with the right amount of focus and communication.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, communication is everything, right? As long as your partners know where you are, or that you won't be available for this certain time, and if you can come back and get what work done you've agreed to get done, then I think that you'll be incredibly successful. Another question: how do you support students who still have not landed a job after the cohort? So we definitely always continue working with them. Our career services team is amazing. They help you, they tweak your resume, or help you understand, what might have happened in any interviews you might have had and help you get better. They might help you, find additional places to interview. Even they will always be there to support you through, whatever your needs are as you're looking for work. But even if you're, continuing your development experience and need help, learning new languages, or you found a place that you really want to go work and you might not know languages, or you might not know some of the technical questions they might be asking you, the instructors are always available as well to answer any kind of questions you have there too. Like, we are a full service, support team. So, we literally had someone, I think from, maybe I forget, however long ago it was that needed support. And, we will always celebrate whenever they get jobs. That's something we announced in our instructor meetings or our staff meetings. Hey, this person from this cohort just got a job, or this person from this cohort just got a job. So we're continuously, even if it's from years ago and they lost their job and, got a new job, we'll continue to support them and celebrate them in every way we possibly can.
Can I just jump in there, Harrison, and add that, so Brian, who's our career services manager, he, with our alumni, continues to reach out to you. I think it's on a bi-weekly basis for the first few months. And then after that, it kind of depends on how much you interact with him. If he's emailing you over and over again and you're not
responding back, then he starts to email a little bit less. So we interact with you as much as you're willing to interact with us and want to support you in any of those ways. So it really is a relationship that we're building, so that it's a give and take on both sides.
Absolutely.
Great. So I do want to be conscious of everybody's time here. We are at 1 o'clock. I do thank everybody for joining us today. I thought this was an awesome, engaging presentation. Harrison, you did a great job. I will say that this the presentation is being recorded, and we do have the slides, so I will post that to the meetup group, hopefully by the end of the day today or tomorrow. And then if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. You can reach out to us at hello@learnacademy.org. You can also find Harrison on Meetup, all of us on LinkedIn, excuse me, find us all on LinkedIn. Reach out to us, ask any questions. And other than that, thank you all for joining us today.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Appreciate your time. Have a great rest of your day.
All right,
Thank you.